Mixed game on the weekend, quick turnaround now.
Yeah.
How have the players responded so far?
Good. Yeah, good couple of days. Obviously, let players recover straight away. I think against Preston, I spoke afterwards. I think quite honestly about our performance and about Preston as a group, and what Preston are extremely physical, hard-working side. So you have to let the players recover after that sort of championship encounter. Obviously, be no different against Millwall on Boxing Day, as we know. Players have been great. Had some good messages this morning. Learning, we were short with the ball at the weekend, that's for sure. As in the qualities with the ball, and just try and explain to the players that, as they well know, it's not just about the player on the ball; it's about the options around the ball. And we've worked on that this morning, spoke about that, and the players are really good, really positive.
You said it's no quick fix getting more chances in the game. Have you spoken to any players in particular about creating more opportunities?
No, not individually. There's a time when you start talking individually to players, but at the moment it's about concentrating on us as a group, and learning together. Learning to try and adapt. Some of our passages of playing keeping the ball was excellent, without really penetrating the opposition. I think we made a lot of passes and some really good passing patterns, and players like Marlon and Leo really trying to get on the ball, which is parts of their game that they're obviously very good at, but have maybe not been used to doing it recently. So it's just getting them back into the habits of doing that, but then making sure that we're cohesive with it, as in the sense of we've got players looking for the ball, and then once they receive the ball, the players looking for the ball again. Go on.
I was just going to say, you mentioned similar challenge against a team that you know very well. Have you had much contact with any of the players or staff there?
I'm sure somebody's going to make a comment in a minute about text messages. It was staff obviously I know very well, and the players as a group as well. Obviously worked there for a long time, so I know a lot of people at the club. A team that's done very well since Gary's gone in. A team that's done very well for a period of time. A group of players that have been good and very hard working. And we have to make sure that we match Mill's energy and work rate on Thursday, and certainly have to be as good as we've ever been around first contacts and second balls.
How's it for you personally, playing your former team and the team that you obviously managed as well as played for?
Well, I'm really looking forward to it, because I know Gary's took over from me, but he's a mate of mine. He's a really good man and he's a good manager. So I look forward to seeing Gary, and then his staff as well. That obviously a lot of them I know personally, but really looking forward to it. Really looking to go up against them. We can be better than we were against Preston in some ways, so I look forward to that challenge of the players trying to be better than they were. It's an extremely difficult game. Mill, I think, have had 10 points from the last 4 away games. I think, if I'm right, 3-1-0 victories. So it's going to be extremely hard to break them down. They come with a defensive unit of sort of 7 behind the ball, and we have to try and penetrate that. And we certainly have to use the ball better than we did against Preston to do that.
Obviously, you know the club very well. Have you used any of what you've learned there to help Cardiff in the preparation for the game?
I think just knowledge I have of the players, understanding of how the players think and what they do. Doesn't mean it's any given that you can stop it. It's still down to tactically getting it right, but also to our group of players, performing on the day. I've got a very talented group of players here at Cardiff that we're working with all the time to try and make into a better team. And physically and mentally make us better, just happens to be Millwall in the next game, and I'm looking forward to it.
You mentioned the players, Joe, Rolls and Bennett both missed on the weekend. How are they doing?
Benno, is an outside chance. It's a long shot, but there's an outside chance. Joe Rolls is going to be out for a few weeks. We won't see Joe Rolls. I don't think FA Cup possibly, but probably after that. So no, in fact the FA Cup probably be too soon. So put Joe Rolls possibly for Swansea game, but certainly won't be before that.
Any other fresh injuries?
As we stand, no. Players that were missing will continue to be missing. So Benno will just be one that we try for, but it might, just the nature of the Achilles, it might just be too soon for him.
You mentioned Jazz Richards after the game on Saturday, and impressed with him, full of confidence that he can do the same role again against Millwall.
Confident in the fact that Jazz is a quality player, huge experience, from age and amount of games he's played at good levels. Obviously, he's not played a huge amount of games in his footballing career for his age because of injuries have always restrained him. What we're confident with Jazz is that he wants to play, he wants to do well, he wants to make up for lost time in the injury room, and we're fully supportive of that. And he's a lad who just goes about his day-to-day business to the best he can. And the challenge for me as ever is to try and keep him out of that treatment room and to keep him on the pitch and to get the best out of him. And we saw the other day, we saw a player that played very well, in my opinion, one of our best players on the day, but probably still at only about 75%. So you can imagine what he's got when he's at 95 and 100%, what he could bring to the team.
We're a week away now from the transfer window opening as well, and you've said previously that full-back might be a position that you'd be looking to strengthen in. Has there been any discussions with anyone yet, or anyone?
No, lots of discussions behind the scenes, but I don't think it's right to talk about January today because we've got 3 games in a week, and I really need to focus on those 3 games. And
how big can those 3 big games be for momentum then, taking you into the new year?
I think it can be huge. We can look back and say Preston was a fantastic point if we follow it up with some victories in the next 3. Take nothing for granted because Millwall at home, Sheffield Wednesday and QPR away, they're really tough games. Sheffield Wednesday has gone up to 3rd in the league. It's another team we find ourselves against in the last few weeks that are going to be in the top 5 or 6 positions. Millwall and QPR, dangerous sides to play against, teams at similar points total to us. And we've got some excellent players, and as ever, the Championship throws really tough fixtures at you all stages of the season. So we need to keep improving. Okay, and it doesn't mean every game can be an improvement, because I don't think Preston was necessarily an improvement to what we've done in the past. But when we didn't improve in that, we still take the learning curves from it, and we take the point and we take the clean sheet, certainly.
Millwall, you said at similar points, in fact, exactly the same at the moment. How important is it to beat the team sort of around you to build them on towards a playoff push? Yeah,
it's important to try and win every game, as we know. I think we're 6 points off 3rd. I think we're 6 points off 3rd, 4 points off the playoffs, 3 points off 7th. It's so tight. We just got to keep trying to grind out those results. Try and display improvement with and without the ball as consistently as we can. And I said after the game, it was a great learning curve for me at the weekend, not to get carried away. I was hoping that it was going to be better and more fluid, and we weren't. And just probably knocked me down a peg as well, to have to relax and say, look, be patient with my players, gaining points. Every point is vital, but every victory is hard earned in the Championship, and over the course of the next week, we have to try and win some games out of those 3 to leave us in an even healthier position when we get to the new year.
Millwall, some unpleasant scenes in their game on the weekend against Barnsley, and again in the Premier League yesterday between Spurs and Chelsea. Have you spoken to your players about what to do if there's any sort of poor behaviour from the fans in terms of from a racism point of view?
No, obviously we're not been in that position since I've been in charge. It's a culture thing and society thing in this country, which is, it spills out into football stadia, and it's horrible, it's disgusting. There's no place for it in our game. There's no place for it in society or in our industry that we love. Football authorities need to act as strongly as possible. It's not just a case for Millwall, for Tottenham. No, not at all. It's for everybody to tackle and eradicate, and harshest possible sentences to individuals that are found guilty should be handed out. Until we can do that, in our own game, we can't be critical of the rest of the world and the rest of Europe. And I think so much work has been done, and unfortunately at Millwall, I was proud as a manager there to see the amount of work that the club had done behind the scenes, and I think we have to carry that message moving forward as in unison as a football league, that it won't be tolerated, and we back all our players. And I think that's not just the football clubs, I think that's supporters as well. I think supporters have got a major role to play in eradicating that in people around them.
You've been on the positive side, because obviously games like Cardiff and Millwall, the tensions are high and the fans, they love that sort of occasion. What was your experience of this fixture from the opposite dugout, from when you were at Millwall?
Hard fought games. definitely. Competitive sides, competitive by nature. Teams that want to win and go toe to toe. Played in some real blood and thunder games, Millwall, Cardiff, and coached in some. Do I think it'd be quite like that? I'm not sure it's going to be that quite aggressive they have in the past, with the way the two teams are now. But it'd be hugely competitive, I know that. And there's a rivalry on the terraces, like vocally as well, and that brings a good atmosphere to the stadium. And I loved as a player playing at Christmas, because Boxing Day fixtures were outstanding. Good crowds, people desperate to get out of the house and get some fresh air and get away from the TV and the chocolates. So I really look forward to it. It should be a cracking game.
You find it easier to get the players up for a game at this time of year, is it?
No, I never struggle to get the players up for a game. But if the players struggle to get themselves up for any fixture, then they shouldn't be playing professional football. But at Christmas, there's a air of atmosphere about them that you have to enjoy.